Hi friend, David here from Learn Stage Lighting, and today we got something a little different behind us. Well, what is this? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? It might be a plane. Hi. No, it's not. So, these are the DMX Hoists available from ModScenes, which are now available at Learn Stage Lighting gear. This is a new and different way. These have been around for a little while. There's something that we've seen in the professional world for a few years for thousands and thousands of dollars. They're quite pricey. And I really haven't seen something available for sale in the price point that a church, a band, a music venue, a wedding venue, any place like that could afford, until now. So why do we care about these darn things so much? Okay, so you can see what we've got here. We basically have, you get this box, which is the hoist, goes up in the air, hangs from any lighting truss, lighting pipe, what have you. And it's got a cable coming out the bottom that then connects to fixtures like these. Now, there's a couple things that I really love about this concept, and about this particular implementation of it, that is the one that ModScenes has done, and why I want to share it with you guys, and why we've started carrying them on Learn Stage Lighting gear. ModScenes is doing it a little different in that they're creating the plastics. I believe they're creating the plastics themselves for all these fixtures. Okay, so you get with other brands, like a lot of times it's a hoist and then the fixture is separate. And some of these other brands, sure, the hoist can carry heavier fixtures, etc. But the annoying part is you have to work with the cable management to be able to go up and down, or they're just a lot larger than this. What ModScenes has done is they're delivering DMX and power down through the cable that the hoist is lifting with, meaning you don't have to deal with that. Meaning that this guy can go 28 feet from top to bottom. Okay, so that means it could hang, if you have this 4-foot tube on it, 33 feet up in the air and still get to a foot off the ground. Okay, obviously here in the Learn Stage Lighting studios, we have nowhere near that space. In fact, I can only, with these tubes on it, I can only bring them up to 4% on their lift. And so there's a lot they can do. But what I think makes this interesting to you guys, and I want to start getting this rolling in your mind as we go through the next videos, tutorials, and really teach you how to use these things, is that a DMX hoist like these can be really beneficial in a couple ways. Okay, number one, in venues where you want to add something interesting for lighting, but you can't use Haze, right? How many times have you been there? You've got an event, you're doing a gig, there's a venue where you can't use Haze. What do you do, right? There's only so much you can add before, you're just adding more lights to the rig, and it doesn't really do anything, right? Like, it does a little, but, it doesn't make a big impact, right? This is something that will. Why? Well, you could start out, say you start out your event, and you've just got them hanging out in the air, not moving, right? Maybe at some point there's a blackout in the show or the event. You could change their position, bring the lights back up, right? That's cool, okay? And slowly draw that in and make it kind of a dynamic, kind of an interesting thing. Obviously, like, I've got these running at a slower speed behind me, just going up and down, and that's cool. But I think what's really cool is when you can use them artistically in even better ways than that. Park them in places where they stay in one place, move them between songs, and then have times where, sure, they move like crazy, they go much faster than this, and you can do some really interesting stuff with them. So, that's really what I wanted to share with you guys, is like, okay, we've got these are cool, these are new, and who in the world is it right for, right? Like, honestly, I think of a couple really great uses that are really cost effective for these things. Number one, if you have a wedding venue, an event venue, a lobby, and you've been looking at chandeliers, say, or you want to replace a chandelier fixture in the middle of your lobby to fill the space in a large area, right? If you go and look at the cost of chandeliers, goodness, big chandeliers, I mean, they get expensive. You could build something with, a handful of these, probably at the same cost, get something way cooler. Okay. The next place is, okay, say you've got a venue, maybe you can run Haze, maybe you can't in the air. Doesn't matter. But you've got front light, you've got backlight, maybe you've got wash and spot fixtures in the back, and you kind of feel like you're in that place as a venue or as a production company or what have you, where, you could go add 6 or 8 more moving lights and it would make an impact on the stage, but, not that much. It wouldn't be a huge jump. Or you get something like this, great for those venues where you can't use Haze and really get going with it, right? So these guys, you can see pricing on Learn Stage Lighting Gear, but what's cool about them is not only do they have different shapes, can you put different things at the end, but they have these tubes. So these tubes have pixel control in them. I believe it's 12 segments, and we can throw it on the screen if I'm wrong. But then there's also these orbs, they call them, which are a ball. There are squares, and there's a few other shapes kind of in this style. No pixel control, but to my eyes, as I'm noting, they're also a little bit brighter because they can put the full power into that orb. Okay, and so these are really cool in a lot of places where, it's dark, you've got a music venue. I mean, you can see how they pop here on the camera. The diffused texture of them definitely catches light really well. So you want to make sure your front light's under control, not getting all over these things. It is here a little bit, but they still look really great, obviously. But other than that, these are just a really cool, really interesting tool that you could begin using in the world of your church, your venue, what have you. So, how do they work? That's the question everybody asks, right? And you got to do a little tutorial on that, and I think we're going to do that next. But for now, check out some video we've got here. So when you talk about DMX hoists, I think it's interesting, showing a few in our studio here is one thing, and I want to show you some video of some different things you can do. Taking it and maybe hanging some other things from it, maybe something like this. Ooh, that can look pretty cool. We'll be doing that this month on the channel. And then when these things get really interesting is when you go ahead and you start to really use them on a large scale. To have lots of them spaced out evenly horizontally, that always looks good, because you can create any unevenness, any texture by moving them out of sync with each other like we're doing here. So it's not perfectly parallel or doing parallel. And then the other way where it really gets interesting is if you start to offset them. So say they're every 5 feet set apart here, and then you go behind them, for example, and you start to set up a second row. I know I'm in the dark, maybe 5 feet behind them, and offset by 2.5 feet, right? So that they're sitting, so that the back row sits in between each row of the ones that you have in the front line. And when you start to do that, just like ModScenes has done in a lot of their test footage and their showcase footage, you get some really interesting stuff. So with that, guys, I want to leave you for today, kind of leave you hanging on that so you can check these out, check out the info we have on our site about these. And then I want to come back next week or in the next video, if you're in the playlist, and show you from front to end, from start to finish. Okay, here's how you hang one of these lights. Okay, here's how you go ahead and, the correct procedure to hang it, to not mess it up, to not have to re-spool the drum, because that takes a while. But here's how to hang it. Here's how to cable it. Here's the order to do everything. And then we're going to dive in and really show you, okay, here's how to program these so that they look really awesome. Because as you know, as we are on this channel, getting a cool light is one thing, right? Getting a cool light that's capable, that can do all this stuff, that's one thing. But being able to use it well is what really separates things, is what really takes you from basic to, awesome, impactful lighting. And that's what we're all about here. So with that, guys, Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, check us out at Learn Stage Lighting and LearnStageLightingGear.com, where you can see these and you can purchase them if you'd like. If you have any questions, reach out to us through Gear. And if you are new to lighting, grab our free guide, 3 Things I Really Wish I Knew, how to get started with lighting, over at LearnStageLighting.com. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.